I love that guitar lick. Welcome back to T3, that Thursday thing. I'm your host, Mr. U. Co-host Herb is in the house. Shane is somewhere in the country. I'm not sure what's going on there,
location.
He's on location for real. He might show up. You might have a friend drop by and say hi, so we'll see how it goes. But it's a farewell tour. It's weird. But how's things going in your neck of the woods, brother?
It's been a hectic day, but good, man. I made it just in time, so I'm ready.
Hectic day. My question is, are they paying you for all this hecticness? Are you getting paid? What?
I'm not. I'm donating my time.
That don't sound like her. Where's all this benevolence coming from?
I don't know. Maybe it's the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol.
Well, that could be a different podcast, a different host too. Wow. All right, now look at this here lady trying to make us blush up inside. It's like her weekly goal. Lady in the house. Hey, yo, how to my favorite guys. Whew. That's a blessing. Thank you, lady. Good to have you in the house. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you. Love it. Love you too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. So we got a little short list of stuff to talk about today. I wanted to have everybody in the box, but they ain't here on time. Yeah. You know my motto: if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. That's how I look at it. So all my questions will be directed and aimed at you and anybody who's listening to the show tonight. You guys get the chance to chime in. You better answer before Herb. But Herb is quick on the trigger, so you better answer quick before he gets hold of it, because I'm kind of directing at you and everybody at the same time. But first off, to me, this anything in the news that kind of just jumped out like, wow, one of those kind of things that kind of made you stand up and take notice. It's a slow part of the season right now. Besides the draft, it's slow, but you know.
So are we saying including the draft or outside of the draft?
Whatever you want.
Well, because the draft is the biggest news to me. You know, I feel like all the moves outside of the draft have kind of been made to position people. You know, honestly, the most interesting one outside of the draft is kind of what's happening in San Francisco and paying their quarterback and all the kind of double talk that's going before it. You know, like, oh, we definitely want to pay him. And then it's like, I mean, we're probably going to pay him. And it's like you've been trying to clear your roster to make sure you can pay him. So are you really going to get to a spot where you can let him walk? Like, that doesn't make sense. So
no, let's talk about that, because I hadn't heard anything. That's only because the level of busyness I got right now is epic right now. That's the only reason why I probably didn't hear anything. But tell me what you heard, man. What are you hearing out there, and what you think is going on in San Fran?
So, and when you Google it, it's like, okay, now as of 3 hours ago, they're thinking he's going to get more than 50 annually. I would have thought that was crazy, you know. And dude, your boy Puka came out and said they shouldn't pay him 50 a year. So, which doesn't usually happen, you know what I mean, from other teams. But you've clearly been clearing the roster. Is Purdy
rival in the NFC West? Rival Puka said that.
Yeah,
that's not loaded at all.
Yeah,
come on.
So that's
go ahead, but I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just interesting, you know, because just a year ago we were thinking they had to go for it before this position happened, right? Then they kind of crashed and burned last year, and now you're thinking we're gonna pay him 50 anyway. Like I honestly thought they were gonna try and settle in more in the 40, which, you know, 40, 50, that's still huge numbers, but I did think it would get chopped down a little. But you're getting this huge group of $50 million a year quarterbacks who, you know, aren't getting you anything.
This is weird to me for a couple of reasons. And we talked about this, you and I, one-to-one plenty of times about Brock Purdy, but he benefited from who was around him, and a lot of that's
what I thought.
A lot of that talent's not there anymore. So are we still thinking 50? Is this like legit? And this is 50. And tell me how the rule goes. They pay you for what you're gonna do, not what you've done. Is that how it works? Is that the rule that they have? Quarterbacks?
I guess so.
They pay you for what you have. They pay you for what you haven't done yet.
Yes.
Not what you have
now,
done, right?
You know, the rest of the group only had, well, you know, he did at least get to a Super Bowl, but he didn't seem to be the reason they were there, and you can't really think of memorable stuff he did there. We're like, oh, Christian McCaffrey was carrying you in that Super Bowl, and Christian McCaffrey gets hurt for a season, and the season just kind of falls apart. And now you're paying him 50, and you just paid a wide, or if you do, it's still reports, but if you do, you're thinking about Ayuk. How does his recovery go? Does he come back? Well, you saw that you couldn't count on Juwan Jennings, right? Kittle a year older. And remember, with McCaffrey, he's only really had one really good, solid, healthy season, it seems like, in forever. Ben looked like he's been on the beach.
Who's that? Oh yeah, Ben is living his life like it's golden right now. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Ben Parker's in the house, host of Sports and Money and 5 other podcasts. Good to have you here, brother.
Great to be here, man. Thank y'all so much.
Herb was talking about the Niners and them going back and forth and paying Brock Purdy. He heard a number of about 50 mil, but go ahead, Herb, finish your thoughts and Ben can chime in afterwards. Go ahead, man.
No, because Ben will probably have a better thought. It was just, I never thought of him as a 50 million, and now you're kind of losing pieces around him. It just seems like this is a contract that's not going to age very well at all, with Purdy.
This is weird because if that rule I was talking about, if that's true and they pay quarterbacks for what they're going to do, not what they have done, then this ain't going to look good. You come back off of an injury, he ain't going to be totally right. You know what I'm saying? Juwan Jennings, he's been a 4 and a 5 everywhere he's been, and he's trying to make him to a number 1, but he's kind of not that. Some experts, the analysts out there, straight NFL analysts who I won't name, say that he is that. He just need to have more looks. I'm like, that's not true because the numbers he was getting more looks and he wasn't giving you number 1 production. So he was getting chances because Ayuk was out. McCaffrey wasn't getting the ball thrown to him because he was out. Who was left? It was Debo, and guess what? Some of the time he was out too. So Juwan Jennings had plenty of time to be the number 1 and take over. He didn't do it.
Yeah. And they had Kittle, but they would forget they had Kittle at times. So that was also an issue too.
Absolutely. But, so yeah, one more point. I'm gonna have to jump in after this. Now, the other thing that concerns me is the numbers. Help me out with. Now, I'm not an expert at the salary cap tables and all that kind of stuff, but when they say total cap allocations and you're in first place, to me. That says that you got a lot of money going out more than anybody in the entire league. Out of 32 teams, you're the highest. Is that not what that means when it says total cap allocation? I know what total means. I know what cap means. I know what allocation means. That means they got $324 million going out, first in the entire NFL. And they're going to pay Brock Purdy $50. $50. You know where I'm at, like $50 million.
They can get away with $50. They're signing that one.
They can't pay nobody for that kind of money. But $50 million with that kind of cap allocation, and they still haven't really cut enough cap to even make it comfortable. How's that going to happen? Ben, go ahead and jump in while we ponder this incredible thought. How can they afford to pay Purdy $50 million plus? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and I
the Niners
on this. They're going to pay Purdy. I honestly think they made that decision a year ago. I think they're just in the process of putting it together now. And a part of me doesn't blame them for that, because when you have a guy, we can argue all day long about how good he is. When you've got a guy, you kind of hate to lose him. There's a deep, deep fear in the NFL of giving up a decent quarterback. It has gone on for decades. So I get that part.
You're right.
But the quarterback market is so skewed.
Deep-rooted fear sounds accurate. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, deep-rooted fear sounds really accurate. Go ahead, brother. You're right. I'm just agreeing with you.
When you look at Brock Purdy, it's complicated, but that's just what it is. So they'll figure it out.
I'm trying to find out where the customer to come from.
Yeah. No, I mean, but he said it perfectly there, though. The teams do that. They're so scared of losing even a halfway decent. And like, if you lose a guy like Purdy, you don't know where you go, because you already swung and missed, big already. So it's kind of, where do you go? And he's kind of fit your system. But no, I think Ben said it perfectly. They do get scared. And then the last thing they want is to let him go somewhere else, and then he does well, and then you look like an even bigger idiots. So, you might think he's not worth 50, but if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm like, if you go look at the group of 50, I've done more than everyone else in that group combined. playoff wise. So one Super Bowl run is more than it's more than Lawrence, Tua, and Love what combined as far as playoff wins, right? That gets you past all of them in one season. So I'm Purdy. I'm like,
just trying to figure out where's it's going to come from. Where these cuts going to come from? 40 guys on their team account for about a little under $100 million and 31% of the cap. And none of those 4 guys are going anywhere. If I tell you who the 4 top guys on the team right now, you would name these 4 guys. Where's the cap coming from? I mean, where's the cap relief going to come from? After that, you got, I'm looking at the chart right now. After that, you got Ayuk, and you got some guys on the D-line, Javon Hargrave and McCaffrey. After that, you got Purdy at 5.3, and then the rest are just guys, I won't say taking up space on the roster, but they're not commanding high dollar right now. So where's the cap going to come from? You're going to go down to a skeleton crew to try to pinch pennies and get rid of all your reserve guys to pay Purdy $50 million? That I don't know how you can get away with doing that. Maybe they will, but you can't touch those top 4 guys I was talking about. You can't touch them. You got Trent Williams, George Kittle, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa. You ain't touching that. Nothing. They can reschedule. Long day, guy. I'm so sorry. They can reallocate their contract money and stuff and try to bring relief to the team. But aside from that, what else can you do to make room for Purdy's money? He's making 5.3 right now. You're talking about from 5.3 to 50. Where this is going to be like magic. How is this going to happen? How is this going to happen?
That's the kind of raise I want.
I'm just trying to. If you guys don't know, we can go ahead and move on. But I'm just trying to find out how it's going to happen because I don't see it. Where's it going to come from?
Yeah, the they'll do is what they're already doing. Number one is they let certain guys go, right? The older, more expensive guys. They'll make a decision, like between Ayuk and the guy that they already let go, the slot receiver guy. They'll make decisions like that. The other part of it is they'll start doing more restructuring than what they've been doing, which is what the Eagles do. The Eagles have had $60 million in dead cap space for 4 years in a row. And while I hate doing it that way, the Eagles are winning that way. So if the 49ers can figure it out too, maybe that'll be the other thing. So it's let go of a couple of players and it's restructure, which basically means you're borrowing from future seasons is what's happening there.
Yeah.
Heard anything else?
Until it catches up with you, I guess, like maybe what the Saints are having to go through. But no, I think it's – and you did say earlier, Ben, that they were thinking about this year ago. And one of our things last year is we said they had to prepare to pay Purdy. So you have to think they've been kind of planning towards it. But I do think when they were paying Purdy, they thought it would be on the heels of another great playoff run or Super Bowl run, not the season that they just had. So it sucks to pay your quarterback $50 million after that season. You know, had they gone back to the playoffs or gone back to the Super Bowl last year, and then you're playing Purdy, if you're in the Super Bowl back-to-back years and you're paying Purdy $50 million, it looks a lot easier. But if you're like, we missed the playoffs, we had to let go of Debo, and now we're paying him $50, it just looks even worse. You know, it's more of an optics thing than a, decision they had to make thing.
How does the IU contract look now?
I mean, he screwed the whole thing up. Sorry, but I don't know if you want to jump in first, Ben, but you can't do the holdout. You can't make it as public as it is, right? You can't say, hey, I want to go to, I'm ready to go to all these other teams and then have 3 or 4 teams offer for you and you turn them all down. Then play terribly when you come back. I mean, drop passes left and right when you come back on the field, including a couple plays I remember where Purdy was running for his life, spinning around the field, run over, throw you a pass, and you dropping touchdown passes. And then you get hurt. I mean, I don't know that it could have gone worse. I'll say that.
Yep. And now on the heels of that, now what you're looking at, we go up to Niners in the second. But after that, now you got him as the de facto number 1 on the team, whom he may not be totally healthy. They got to rely on Ricky Pearsall to be the number 1 wide receiver. And how many games did he play last year? After getting shot, almost losing his life, he could be relied on to be the number 1 wide receiver. That's totally not fair. So no matter how this falls out, this is not a good situation for the wide receivers. Unless you want to try Jawan Jennings again for the 19th time. See if he'd be a wide receiver 1 again. We can try, but hey, it didn't work the first 18 times. Let's try 19. Let's see what happens. All right. So I got five questions and a poll question for you guys for the night. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. And for all you guys that are listening to that Thursday thing, thanks for chiming in. If you got any questions for Ben, Herb, or myself, even a question for Shane, we'll ask them later. Drop them in the comments section. We'll be happy to answer those. Bring them up on screen if they're appropriate. And then we can go ahead and answer those questions. All right, so the first one I'm hearing about, and this is somewhat of a draft question. We discussed it, but it feels like the idea is starting to pick up steam. Now, potentially, Travis Hunter's being mocked to Cleveland Browns a lot. And at the number 2 spot in this upcoming draft, which starts next Thursday. And he's being compared by Browns GM Andrew Berry to Shohei Ohtani, who he's most notably known for pitching and hitting at the same time. So he's definitely a two-way player in Major League Baseball. Not many of those, unless like really desperate times in the roster and relief pitching is not going well. Then you'll see some guys do things outside of their comfort zone. But normally it doesn't really happen that much. So Ohtani does that on a regular basis, especially when he's healthy. So now Travis Hunter is being considered as the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL. Hadn't played it down yet or anything. Already got a nickname. So tell me, guys, do you believe that Hunter could be a unicorn in the NFL? That means he can play both positions and be a two-way player in the NFL. If you got historical references for this too, by all means, please bring them out. I can't recall anybody doing this full time. Nope, nobody comes to mind for me. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I do love him. I want to make that clear. I love Travis Hunter. But there is no league in the world like the NFL. You talk about a man's league in which they don't put up with crap, in which every week the best minds in football are studying you. You know, they're getting ready for you. And some of them do it twice a year because they play you twice a year. So all of that put together, man, it's going to make it really difficult for him to be as much involved on both sides of the football as Shohei Ohtani is in baseball when he's healthy, right? In my head, it's going to have to be an 80-20 split at best. And, you know, I'm wide open to any team where Travis making that 80% offense or 80% defense. You know, they'll all see it different, but I think 80-20 split is the best they're going to be able to do. I just can't see him doing any more than that. From a fatigue standpoint, from a studying during the week standpoint, I just don't see it. I think that's about where it's at for me anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, before Herb jumps in, I want to ask you a quick question. I mean, you're really good with X and O's and stuff, to Herb is as well. Tell me what that scenario looks like. You said 80-20. Kind of give me a quick synopsis of what that looks like for him to play 80% either one and then 20% of the other. Tell me, what's the scenario where that would happen? I'm trying to understand. Help me visualize it if you can.
For me, if it was Cleveland, let's go with the Browns, and then I'm going to give it to the Patriots too. But if it were Cleveland, it's 80% defense, which means he's practicing defense all week, and he comes in for special offensive packages. And those routes are simple. They are designed to get him in space and score touchdowns, not pick up little first downs. You know, that's how I would do it if I were Cleveland. If I were the Patriots, on the other hand, I'm throwing him over on offense. It's 80% offense, and he comes in on special nickel packages, dime packages throughout the game. That would be how I would do it. But again, you can't be in all the team meetings all week on both sides of the football, you know? And the NFL is too intricate and too well designed and too well studied to really knock out both positions at the same time.
Excellent stuff, man. Herb, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that the split was perfect. I like the two teams you mentioned too as well. And didn't Ohtani just win the World Series when he was out the whole year as a pitcher, and he just got to concentrate on being a batter? Right. So I already don't get that. Guess what, Travis? If you hurt your arm and you're out for one, you're missing both. It's not even going to be close to like the Ohtani situation where you can still survive out there and make your money. But I think one thing that's definitely missing, because Ben covered that one perfectly. I like the 80-20 split, and I think that's perfect for what he needs. I don't think he realizes the jump from going from the Big 12 to, you know, in the NFL, where the third offensive lineman off the bench coming around the corner can still knock your block off, you know, where guys can, you know, the third wide receiver. We talk about Juwan Jennings, but he'd be a beast, you know, in college. That's not the guy that you want to be covering. And in your situations, okay, he comes out, he gets an interception, runs it back 20 yards, whatever, and now you want him to flip right around on offense. Well, okay, maybe he can recover there, right? What about the other situation? He's out there running go routes 2-3 times. You come back, all of a sudden you guys throw interception, fumble, quick change, defense on the field. He's expecting to flip right there and just be in perfect position. And that's without everything else been said, without you haven't done the team meetings all week. You haven't been at that position. You've tried to split. Just that alone seems like an impossible situation. And the other thing is we are trying to save his body for later on. Because guess what? You're not going to get 2 contracts. Okay. Right. What the NFL is going to do is try and pick out whichever one you're worse at and pay you for that position versus the other one. Like you were great as a corner, but you were kind of okay as a wide receiver. So we're going to lower this number. All right.
You know it.
Do that. Yeah. There's already more games in the NFL. Heaven forbid you make the playoffs. You got even more. Like all of this just says if he played like he did in college, would I give him 3 years? Maybe. And I feel like that's being generous. So no. I understand he wants to, and I understand has to say what they have to say to keep him happy, but I just can't see it long term.
This I don't want to stay on his college career too much, but it's like some of the games. I mean, they forced Spence Colorado, which is incredible because I live nowhere near Colorado. But that bad boy was on 10 o'clock every night, except every Saturday night, except some 4 o'clock games that I saw out here. But I mean, the loss they took the team that they probably should have stomped, and then they wins. Some of them were struggles against teams that they probably didn't have to struggle against. It's like you said, I think it was your point, Herb. NFL is a whole different beast, man. You're not coming out here. You come out here playing no BYU and K-State and Nebraska. And if you saw Nebraska last year, they weren't good, and they road stomped the Buffaloes. So it's like that's not. This is what do these guys think about? It's making me thinking about I'm a Leaver, but I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about him today. What do you guys think of these guys? I mean, they got some stuff in their head about how great they are.
You can't throw the name out and not talk about that story though, because that's this story. That story is getting better and better.
I'm gonna let you run with it because I know I know it kind of burns your biscuits the same way it does for me, but maybe even you even more so. But go ahead, man. We can get into it, man. There's a segue in there. I'm sure we can both find it because it's right there.
It's a cautionary tale on don't let your dad manage your money and be your agent.
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
that's what
this has to be one of the worst managed situations I've ever seen. And by all accounts, the more you read and the more you talk to people, it just seems like it's all driven from his dad. And there was a point where Nico actually just wanted to stay at Tennessee. You're going to a worse situation. Right. UCLA won like 5 games last year. The future is not bright. The skill positions are going to be less. Whatever you think about Tennessee, they put their last 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. Once you make the NFL, hey, it's up to you. You do whatever you want to do. Right. But they put their last 2 in the NFL. It's a quarterback friendly system. This would be your 3rd year at Tennessee. And they were paying you like 2.4. If you had stayed all 4 years, this contract would have totaled $10 million. Yeah. That's not chump change for a college kid. You're going to make less than UCLA.
Apparently it is.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's for your dad. You just don't let your dad manage your finances when he thinks he's LeVar Ball and he's not getting it done correctly. You don't let him go to the negotiating table. They say some awful stuff when you're negotiating. Okay. And it's not for your parents to hear. It is for your agent who shields you from that stuff to hear. Mm-hmm. So, but no, his dad has mismanaged it. He's going to take less to go to UCLA. The cost of living in UCLA in California is going to be much, much higher than Tennessee. The taxes are high. You don't have state tax in Tennessee. So it's like every part of this situation is worse. You're going to play tough competition with nobody to throw to and have a terrible team. So sorry, I've talked enough on it. My bad, Ben, but this situation is ridiculous.
Yeah, the NIL it's really getting out of control. We knew it would be because we talked about it so many times on this show. We talked about it on Wednesday wrap up. We talked about it over and over again. It's like this is awful. This is going to get worse. And look what's happening. It's actually happening. But go ahead, Ben. You got a quick thought on this one? If not, we'll move on to our next topic.
Yeah, Herb. You and Herb covered everything perfectly well there, and I'll just add on to it. If you're Nico and preferably if you're Nico's advisors, right? Whether that's your dad or a friend of the family or ever who, the sense of timing,
Uncle Bebe and them,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if your sense of timing, you didn't have a great year at Tennessee as far as a player.
Thank you.
You know, you're not the same mysterious commodity you were coming out of high school. You know, if you had had a banner year as a player, then you might have more leverage here, but you didn't have that. So yeah, timing was bad as well.
Yeah. The running game and their defense is what got them to the playoffs. And it wasn't Nico. And that was another problem. And then can I also say this though? The worst part of this for Tennessee, the part that they can't get out of the blame of, you can't let a situation like this go into the last day of spring, right before the spring. If you guys had an issue, because they say the issue popped up in the playoff game, right?
Yeah.
And the playoff portal for a playoff team, I believe it's like 5 days after you lose, right? So the portal was extended for them. You have that window to get this done. You don't let your starting quarterback be disgruntled through the whole spring. So everybody's like, oh, Tennessee won. No, you lost. On the last day of spring, you lost your starting quarterback for next year. That's a stupid, terrible, dumb move as well. So don't let everybody think, oh, Tennessee did the right. No. Y'all should have handled that the first day and said, okay, if this ain't gonna work, let's give the other two guys all the reps in practice, and we moving on from Nico. So,
and the scary part is that it felt like, I could be wrong, but it felt like if he would have come out, he'd have been one of the top quarterbacks. I'm like, really?
Well, there's a lot of stuff in flux in the SEC, so he would have been one of the top and one of your best returners. But year 3 of the system, you have to think he's going to improve, but not from 2.4 to 4 million improve. So,
yeah. Let's keep moving. I don't want to get caught up with some Nico business. All right, this is going to be a weird question, but hopefully we can hit this one quickly so we can keep the train moving. But because of the person, who knows, man. But this Aaron Rodgers thing is off the chain right now. Now we got personal stuff, personal relationships involved in this, and he's challenged with what he wants to do in life. This might be a tough question. If you don't know the answer, we'll keep on moving. It's no worries. But which quarterback is potentially most affected by the delay in Aaron Rodgers? We're looking at Aaron Rodgers in this and like, oh, we just decide, just retire. We just tired of you. But somewhere in the league is a quarterback that's sitting here like, I'm not gonna get my chance if he comes to this team. Who's that quarterback?
I mean, that's a good question. Can I say Shedeur Sanders, who's not even in the league yet?
Oh, he ain't got no job. He ain't got no job yet. You gonna pick him? You don't have a job yet.
But if Pittsburgh signs Aaron, then are they drafting Shedeur? I kind of doubt it, right?
Along those lines, my pick is Jalen Milroe then, because he's been linked to Pittsburgh, and if he ends up there,
got no job either.
Because I think all the other guys that we would have picked got jobs before this. I think all the other guys that were kind of waiting for his decision went elsewhere, like the Russes of the world, even maybe a little minor Sam Darnold, that sort of thing. How about JJ McCarthy then? He's affected by it if the Vikings do get back into the race. He might. That's
somebody that comes to mind, but I think it's hard. I mean, Mason Rudolph is like he had plenty of chances. So I don't really think about him.
Mason Rudolph. That was. I love how they're trying to build up to. Yeah, he's a guy that we want back here. No, you don't. You just don't want to have to train another backup.
I bet you they draft a quarterback this year. They want to Mason Rudolph, but the JJ one. That's what I think about, because he can't afford to be basically on the bench for 2 years. I think that'd be horrible for him. And this whole thing with this weight thing, I haven't seen any updates, but I hope his weight gets up and he's not sick or something like that. Because that's not good. He can't play at the weight that I heard his weight at. He's 6'3". He was like under 200 pounds. Yeah, there ain't no way in the world that's going to work out. One hit, and that's a wrap. So I think that's the thing that come to mind for me. But I love you guys' answers. I'm like, these guys don't have jobs shit, so I don't know. But good point though. They may not draft somebody. I mean, but he's 41 years old, so maybe they still will draft somebody. They got to have somebody back behind him, because he's going to decline, right? At 41, 42 now. Right?
Yeah, got to.
Yeah. All right. So this one is funny because I want to hear if you guys really think this is really like legit, but they're saying that Boise State running back Ashton Johnson is a nearly unanimous top 5 pick. I've never heard this. I've been doing pre-draft mock drafts since what, February? I haven't heard this one time until today. So first question, do you think he's a consensus top 5 pick? And then after that, what team is going to do this? What team is going to take him that early? And then I have another question about him for you. So it's actually 3 questions. So is he a potential, a legit top 5 pick? And what team is going to pull the trigger on him that early in the draft?
Herb, you want to jump on it, man?
I'm going to say no. First, the teams that are picking in the top 5 or above all have too many question marks to go at a running back. But I will say this. I've got 3 mock drafts pulled up right now. 2 of them have him at number 6 to the Raiders. So that falls right outside your question, but still pretty high. I didn't think it would be a top 10 for running back. I realized, like, the great rushing numbers, but you see the guys that have gone top 10, top 15 recently have also been guys who are dangerous out of the backfield, like Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. And I didn't see him catch as many passes at Boise. I thought it was definitely more running. But the teams in the top 10 are not all, hey, we've got great offensive lines and we're ready to feed a running back kind of team. So I just don't see it. I don't see. And you say top 5, you're eliminating like the top 3 already, right? Because you've got certain picks going there. So you're almost at like teams 4 and 5. Are they going to take him? I just don't see it. So I'm gonna go no.
Yeah. Okay. Ben.
I'm in the same boat. I do feel like on big boards, generic big boards, he probably is top 5 for a lot of people. But as far as getting picked top 5 in this draft, it would surprise me by a lot. So I've got him going anywhere from 6 to the Raiders, 9 to the Saints, 10 to the Bears, 12 to the Cowboys is the range I would see him. I don't see anybody in the top 5 taking him.
Yeah.
And of course, and we all going to all collectively rule out anybody trying to trade up into the top 5, right? Nobody's going to do that, right? For a running back, right?
Yeah. Positional value, man. I just don't see how you can waste assets to go after running back, unless you feel like running back is the last key position that you need. And that's not typically a top 5, top 10 team.
And what team would that be that can say that? I don't know anybody. That running back is the last piece and they go into the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs could probably get away with it, but that's, because they're the Chiefs and they could just.
Man, y'all ain't taking my boy's job. That man, that's his job. He earned that job.
I'm just telling you, if you want to know the team that can get away with doing it.
Alone. Yeah. Don't mess with Pacheco's work. Pacheco, man, when he's helping, I love him. He's great. Don't take that man's job. Leave that man's job. Let him be. All right, so last question about Johnson. Now, there's some talk also that this reminds me of the conversation we had earlier about these young guys, like whether it be Hunter or Nico, and the way that they perceive themselves, like it's crazy. But he feels as though that he could easily have a Barkley type impact on whatever team drafts him. I guess he's looking at his 2,604 yards last year, and I guess that's what he thinks that, what, he can do what Saquon did easily, and he can do it all the time. And he had the potential to have a Barkley kind of impact on the NFL. That's my question.
Which player are we talking about?
Still on Johnson.
Okay, yeah. That sounds a little bit extreme for year 1 to me. I do think he's got that kind of a ceiling, but in year 1, that's a lot.
It is. Especially going to a bad team like this.
Right. Yeah.
Which is the potential. I mean, I don't know how he avoids that.
Right.
Somebody had to trade it for him. Really, somebody would have to trade it to get him. And they really want him that bad. And that had to be a good team to trade up. Because all your projections are for teams that they might have you, but they're going to be in need of a whole lot of other stuff too. Raiders, Saints, you name it. It's going to be which fit do you like the most for him, though? So let's just forget the whole Barkley thing. I think that's reaching to say the least. But which team do you like as a best fit for him?
Yeah, me personally, I like the Bears and the Saints both. The Bears are ready to do it with Ben Johnson. They've obviously put together some kind of.
I can see that better. Yeah.
The Saints, the reason I say that is they've struggled in pass protection, but they still have a decent group there, especially when Eric McCoy is healthy playing center. they've got some big guys there who love to hit. They just struggle in pass protection. So, you know, that with that offensive line, you bring in John T, you at least establish a strength of a running game with some kind of a passing game there. So that's the two teams I like myself.
Yeah.
Okay. I only got to see one game, and I think that's the one where he was limited or wasn't in it. So I didn't get a chance to really, quote unquote, evaluate him. Is he good to pass block in his last couple years at Boise State, or is that something that you shouldn't expect from him? I can't tell you for sure. I have no idea. Do you guys know?
You honestly didn't see it that much in a lot of their games. Like 90% of the games was feed him the ball, so that he wasn't asked to do it a lot in most of the times that you saw him. And every game wasn't televised, so it is a small sample size of what he could see. But you're talking, 25, 30 carries easy a game. There wasn't a whole lot of pass yards going out in Boise, and you only have a couple. Yeah, and you only have a couple games against good competition. Sorry, Ben.
No, sir.
What's up, first down?
There wasn't much of it to see on tape, and that's another indicator, though, of how good he was at running the football, because everybody knew he was getting the football, and it was going to be 8, 9 loaded boxes that he was going up against, and he still put together those kind of numbers, even against some pretty good teams. Not just the conference schedule, but the non-conference had some pretty good teams in it at times over the past couple of years. He still was that good, but I didn't see a whole lot of pass blocking. No.
Okay, so him going to the Saints, I don't know how good that's going to be. He'd be behind Kamara, I guess. Theoretically, the Bears would be worse because he ended up probably being the number one. Because I don't think DeAndre Swift can keep him out of the number one spot if he does go to the Bears. So it'd be weird. But what's up, first down? Good to have you in the house, brother. Thank you, sir.
What's up?
All right, just 2 more questions for you guys, and we'll just be free to flow after that. What are your thoughts about the Dallas Goedert trade rumors? It looks like it's real. Doesn't seem like it's smoke to me. Look like they really are looking to try to trade him. Multiple injuries. I'm talking about ankle, upper thigh, hamstring, forearm, knee, calf. He's been through the ringer, but he's looking to be. I think let's see, he had 42 receptions for about a little under 500 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they're looking to try to trade him, probably to get draft capital, so they can do what they did last year. Well, do what they did with AJ Brown and get a big leap. So first of all, I think they're going to definitely be a team that's going to try to trade up twice, at least once, but definitely twice. That seems to be Roseman's MO. But they got like 20 picks in the next 2 years. So they can't pick all them people because they ain't got room in their roster for it. No. So they're gonna pick somebody and fire people, which I can't see that, or they're gonna use some of those picks to move up heavily in the draft. So that's my guess, though. So what's your thought about the trade rumors, and what do you think is the best fit for Goddard at this stage of his career?
I think that the interest is higher on the Philly side than other teams. I'm not trying to give up a lot to get Goddard in the final year of his contract. And then, so it's weird when you look at the teams that are mentioned, like your Giants have been mentioned. And I think I read the Colts and stuff like that. I'm thinking, yeah, y'all are one of the teams mentioned on the list. See, your thought is my thought. I'm like,
why would they give us anything? Answer that part.
Well, you gave them Saquon Barkley, so they're giving you back Goddard.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's equal right there. I mean, right
there. The guy who was a star who has been banged up lately. That's how Barkley was when you gave him to the Eagles, right?
He wouldn't give us a bag of wooden nickels, man. But it's all good, bro.
That's how trades within the division work.
Keep going, though. I want to hear your thoughts on Goddard, but keep going.
No, I wouldn't give up a lot for him. Not at this stage. And the more you read about it and the cap hits and all this stuff, it's something that Ben will probably know 1,000 times more than I will on it. But on the surface, for a casual NFL guy, I'm like, I'm not trading for Goddard. And the teams that I'm reading mentioned, I definitely am not trading for Goddard. So I don't get it. I get on the Philly side, not on anybody else's side.
But who I'm blanking on the guy. Who was the guy that was
Waller?
the number one receiver when he was on the team? I mean, the number one tight end when he was on the team. Not last year, but this was probably about maybe 2 years ago. Who was because he was the second tight end on the team.
Oh,
I'm blanking on the guy's name right now. I don't think it was Zach Ertz. It might have been. I don't think it was. I think it was somebody else. And he was right now. His production is tight end to production.
Okay.
He's averaging about 50 receptions, a little under 500 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's his average. That's tight end to production. What you gonna get for that? You ain't even getting a 3 for that. I don't think. Somebody got to be really generous to give you a 3 for that. He's the second tight end. No. And if he did go to the Giants, theoretically, God, I hope not. But if he does that, what's he going to be? I want Theo Johnson to succeed.
Right.
I don't want him to take a backseat to this man.
Right.
What I see in Theo Johnson is better, in my opinion. I was high on him in the draft. I said this guy can be the guy at tight end for us. He had flashes of it. Some things are like, okay, young kid stuff, rookie stuff was happening. But go ahead, Ben. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had to get that out of me.
Right on everything you're saying there. Do they get maybe a 5th round draft pick for Goddard? Is about what I would give up, and that wouldn't be any team. That's only teams that are kind of tight end needy right now, needing to compete this year. Kind of where I would be at. I mean, that's about what I'm at here. I don't blame the Eagles for wanting to do this because it's a pretty tight end rich draft. You know, if you want a fast guy or a big guy, either one. There's some pretty good guys sitting out there, so I don't blame them, like Herb said, for wanting to do this. It seemed like it would be a real small group of people and not very much being offered to get Goddard here.
Yeah. Let me give you some context, too, for this. It looks like Philly's looking for a 4th, but most teams are wanting less. So I think more teams are thinking like Ben. Goddard actually led the team in receiving yards in this last playoff, which I did not realize. Gun to my head, he would have been my 4th pick. I would have been like AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. I'm like, I know, right? I probably would have guessed AJ Brown again before I said Goddard. So I didn't realize that he had, a good playoff. You just don't think about it that way. So they are trying to capitalize.
The stats say whether they're check downs or not? Did the stats say if they did the check downs or not?
Receptions and yards. So I mean, either way, right? 17 for 215. He had the most yards per catch. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Joanne Dotson had the most yards per catch. We're going to eliminate that in his 3 catches. So, no, I mean, 12.6 a catch. That's not bad. Tight end. He's a tight end, though. I expect more of him to be check downs than, Goddard going deep. that's he is still tight end.
I've seen him do that, but, that didn't always work out. I've seen him do that before. I've seen him plays one for that. Hey, D5, what's up, man? You heard the Giants mentioned too? All right, so I guess Herb said it and you said it too. It must be legit, but
yeah. Well, I don't know about legit. I'm reading articles because that surprised me to see their name pop up. I was like, I'm the Giants. I'm not giving a 4th or a 5th for Dallas Goddard. So
the 4th, the 5th, I'm like,
I still wouldn't. I would just draft somebody, like Ben said.
He's not a bum. You know what I'm saying? But this guy's in the draft that I like a lot. I mean, guys like Arroyo, I'm like, I even like Fanning Jr. We get hit, one of those guys, I'm like, God is history.
Yeah, I'd much rather.
All right, now this is probably one of the most staunch Titan fans in the history of the world.
Oh yeah.
So when you see his comments, they're always going to be leveraged toward the Titans. Just be ready for that in life. But Sam says, who's going to pay me the king's ransom and trade for number 1? At this point, Sam, I don't think you even want to be. I think you want to stay at 1 at this point.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you want to be out of the number 1. I think you want to stay there, so you can have whoever you want, right? Who has a better shot at doing that than you guys? You can pick whoever you want. I know that's right. You can pick whoever you want. You can pick somebody who is not expected. You can pick somebody who's not named Cam Ward and let them fall to us, of course. But you can pick whoever you want. So, I mean, you guys are in an enviable position. People might be trading you guys for it. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, Sam. You're going to be holding the number 1 pick is too rich for most people's blood. Nobody's going there to get anybody. But so enjoy your number 1 pick. We'll talk about it next week. I can hear you now. You'd be on pins and needles on that first pick. I'll be there with you. All right, so our last question of the night. This requires some thought. To be honest with you guys, even though I give you guys questions, most times I have an answer. This is not one of those times. Let's check out Sam's comment first before we tell you that what that is. All right, I'm not high on these quarterbacks, but it is Cam. Owner met him in Miami, so that legitimizes it, huh? He met him in Miami, so that means it's this thing, huh?
I like his sell job too. Hey, I'm not high in these quarterbacks, but who wants to trade me a king's ransom for the number 1 pick? Like, yeah, sorry, buddy. not gonna work out.
That's interesting. Like, I don't know what team is going to do that.
Nobody's.
I don't know what team is going to do that. Who? And then why? All right. So here's our question. It might require some thought. All you guys that are watching and listening, love for you to chime in on this one because honestly, beside people's fandom, I don't know how you can answer this question easily. It's going to take a little bit of thought. But the poll question is, which is the greatest NFL franchise of all time? I got 6 choices. Which is the greatest NFL franchise of all time? And of course, they are putting the Super Bowls next to it to make it a thing. So the Patriots with 6 Super Bowls, the Steelers with 6 Super Bowls, the Packers with 4, the Cowboys with 5, the Niners with 5, and the Chiefs with 4 Super Bowls. Which is the greatest NFL franchise of all time? Now, somebody who just wants to get out of this and just say, oh, you know what? Who got the most Super Bowls? But that's not going to help us today. You got to have a little bit more of a little bit more thought put into this one. So, first off, how are you the greatest franchise? What would make you the greatest franchise of all time? Number 1.
I was just giving you a hard time, Mr. First Down. I'm with you. I thought it was funny.
It was a serious question because he's been asking for a trade since months now. So it was a serious question, but nobody's going to do that. I do what you in a mock, but nobody's doing that in real life. All right. So how do you quantify the greatest NFL franchise of all time? And then which of this list is actually the greatest? Give you the whole list again. The Pats, 6 Super Bowls, the Steelers, 6, Niners 5, Cowboys 5, Chiefs 4, and Packers 4. I'll put it in the comments for you guys who didn't catch what I was saying. I talk so fast. You guys, it's on you.
I'm going. Your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Are you kidding? Why?
Because they have managed. First off, it's their year every year. You can't count on the other teams to tell you that.
This sounds facetious. Are you serious? You mean
still the number 1 seller in the NFL, despite 30 years of just spinning in the desert. So the Dallas Cowboys have managed to be the most overrated franchise for 30 years and still be America's team. I'm going. Your Dallas Cowboys are the greatest franchise because they don't need winning to be relevant. That's winning is just a side part.
Wait, now, but they're the greatest franchise.
Man, I hate to say it because I root for their downfall every single year.
Not the one who has the most money and who brings in the most money. That's the greatest NFL franchise based on
you can't throw out all the benchmarks. Well, it's not titles and it's not money and it's not this. So I just told you they're still probably the most popular worldwide icon that you have. You go to Japan, you're probably gonna sell some Dallas Cowboys merch, but you're not selling any like Pittsburgh Steelers terrible towels. You know,
Sam just calling it like it is because this is questionable. I never had questions about you like I do right now.
Yes, you do. You've said them several. Anytime I say something bad about the Giants, you've said the same thing.
I don't care about the Giants.
Anytime I mention something good about the Cowboys, you've said the same thing.
I can't put the Giants in this.
You kicked the co-host off the show one time for saying something about the Cowboys.
That never happened. I never did. Yeah. I can't put the Giants in this. The Giants can't be in this category, so they're not even in this. I'm trying to find out how you pick the Cowboys. Most popular. That's probably true. Out of this list of 6 teams. The most expensive, that's probably true as well. They got a really nice exercise facility, so they spend a lot of money on their team. So I get that. The greatest NFL franchise of all time.
Just tell you, probably the most worldwide recognized franchise. You're not listening. If you say I didn't tell you why, that means you didn't listen to anything that I just said. Like
No, you
you
said
just
Cowboys
blocked
not
out
blanked
the
out.
whole thing. You said Cowboys.
You said Cowboys. You said Cowboys not blanked out. I
Yeah,
own
I
that part.
figured that. I know that. I was watching you. So we'll just throw it over to Ben. Ben will say something you like. So
The greatest?
he likes Ben more
Okay.
than he likes me. So go ahead, Ben. Bring some
That's tomfoolery.
sanity to the argument.
That's not true. The greatest.
I could be talked out of this, but I'm going with what Mr. First Down has got posted here on the screen. I'll go with the Steelers. That was the answer that popped in my head. And for a number of reasons, as I got to listen to you guys talking, that's what I was thinking about the Steelers. You've got Super Bowls in several different generations, right? Under 3 different coaches. You've got stability like almost no other franchise has ever had under 3 different guys. You got 3 of the best coaches of all time at their different generations. You got the 70s team alone. If that was all it was, if there were no Super Bowls later, just the 70s teams alone could be argued that was the greatest franchise. The strength they had at all those different positions, the Hall of Fame level work there was just tremendous. So for a lot of different reasons, man, and they just never lost much. You think about all the franchises that have been great at times. They've also had just some horrible downturns. The Steelers have never had much of that. Even during their off years when they weren't winning Super Bowls, they were usually competitive. So I'll go with the Steelers there, although I could be argued out of it for a couple of these other franchises as well.
I like that pick.
It's boring.
Not bad. I guess because they both were really dominant in their heyday. No question about it. The Cowboys and the Steelers were. Which one had the best winning percentage of all time? Because that I do not know.
That I don't know.
Jack
No,
Daniels.
I love this. I
what
love the Steelers pick, by the way. But I had to pick the one that nobody was definitely going to pick, so I had to have some fun with mine.
You can bet I wasn't doing that. I'm like, I don't. Now I want to see. Now I want to see myself. Now I'm wondering, like, who had the best?
Mr. First Down, you cool with me, buddy? You cool with me? We'll have a drink.
Oh boy!
Put a pile on Herb's pick for a second.
Amazing.
The Cowboys. You go back to the late 60s and the early 70s, they were the leaders, the innovators when it came to drafting players and building kind of drafting models on computers. They were like a decade ahead of everybody else doing that, and everybody else copied them eventually and took away whatever edge they had by, early 80s. But, Dallas was, again, you go back that far, they were way ahead of everybody at the time. Yeah,
from a winning percentage standpoint, I just went ahead just to look it up really quick. I think the source can be trusted, I suppose. But there's 2 teams at the top. The first one is Baltimore, and the second one is Herb's choice, the Dallas Cowboys.
There it is.
A winning percentage of 573.
That's it.
So Herb's choice may be more valid than we thought. I mean, they have less Super Bowls than pretty much it. Well, almost everybody here, with the exception of 2 teams, but their win percentages smokes everybody else's. So,
yeah. But one of the things though you started with was like throw out the Super Bowls and the win. So I wasn't really going for product on the field as much.
I don't know how you include them. You got 2 teams.
You told me not to. That was your first. That was your first rule. You threw out Super Bowls.
I don't know how. I mean, I was actually throwing the Super Bowl out for you guys to know what it was. Not throwing it out like getting rid of it. But I don't know what else you can do with that. You got 2 teams that got 6 Super Bowls. They got 5. That's what actually what happened. 2 that had 6. 2 that got 5. 2 that got. I mean, how do you judge which one was better? I'm saying because people on Twitter, what they're going to do, they're going to say who got the most Super Bowls, and then that's how they decide who's the best. That's why they say, oh, the Patriots are better. They had theoretically the most Super Bowls. They didn't really because the Steelers got the same amount. But how do you decide that? A Super Bowl is the only determination, the only determining factor. It's going to be really hard to figure out who's the best. So winning percentage, I guess in this case it wins out. They've been winning more and they've been winning longer. I think it was since 1960. It's really hard to dispute that. So I guess I shudder to say this. I guess according to this poll, the Oh God, I'm gonna.
No, if we're gonna take a poll on better answer, you got to give with Ben. Like that was way better of an answer for sure.
I'm sorry, Marshall. Just make on that.
I'd rather go with Ben's answer so that way I won't have to do something I never done on the podcast before, which is throw up in front of everybody watching this.
I'm gonna say if they play this clip, I'm gonna say it's Photoshop. I'm like, that wasn't me. Dallas Cowboys wasn't me.
Good luck doing that. Once I make all the clips made tonight. Good luck trying to get that one to go. You can go on the clips. I heard said the Dallas Cowboys. It's gonna be a special clip. Right. They'll be on TikTok and everything. Yes, sir. I'm watching many. I'm probably gonna miss a few matches on the first night, but I'll definitely be locked in. I think for the entire Saturday night edition, so I'll see the whole thing. So I'm definitely excited, man. WrestleMania is what they're referring to for all you wrestling fans out there. All right, well,
we were on a WrestleMania for Dummies show last night.
I couldn't join y'all, man, but I know wrestling, so I don't know if you call me a dummy. I don't know how that works, but I couldn't make it that night. But well, next week, let's go ahead and promote this. And next week we're doing our first and last live draft special. Or maybe it's the last. I don't know. We'll see. But our first live draft special. I'm gonna be on for the entire first round of the draft. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have my liquids and my cough drops, conservative voice. I'm gonna have my special potions over here. Keep my voice right. I'm gonna be ready for that. So I got them all ready, locked in. And we're gonna have fun, man. People gonna be coming live into the studio for however long they want to. We'll be having them predict their teams, what the team's gonna do, what the next pick's gonna be. We're gonna have fun with it, man, and just enjoy it. So if you guys are available and you want to show up for this, by all means, you are welcome. You can come in the studio. You can stay in the chat. Totally your call. I can't wait too late. I'm excited about it. This is gonna be really fun. My first time doing this. Almost like you're gonna be there. I got some friends that actually go into the draft, and I'm not going with them, so I'm gonna stay here and just kind of live vicariously through them. So it's gonna be fun, man. But if you guys can join us next week, we're not gonna be here at 7:00. Don't log on at 7:00. I won't be here ready. We're gonna come in about 10 minutes to 8, so that way I can just maximize the first round and not lose too much time shooting all of our good draft analysis. So we're gonna save until about 8:00. So I'll be on right before that. If you come in the studio, let me know beforehand. I hit you with the link, and we'll go ahead and bring you in. I know a few folks have already checked on that already, so we're gonna have fun with it, man. But besides that, what are you guys gonna be looking to see happen in the draft? What's gonna be the number one thing you want to see happen? Besides chaos.
Chaos for sure. Now I'm interested. Everything I have is quarterbacks. I want to see is Shedeur really falling as far as people say. And then I want to see, are any of these rumors true with Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe possibly going way higher than anyone thought? So those are my three, all quarterback stuff.
Yes, I'm 50-50. I think it could happen, but it depends on the other stuff. Supposed to have a run on a certain position that they didn't plan to. Supposed to have a run on linebackers. It could happen, you know. Especially just a quality linebacker. Suppose he goes in the first round. You got Jahad Campbell. People start grabbing him. And before you know it, oh man, linebacker's not that strong this year. I get mine while I can. And before you know it, guys start getting pushed down. All it takes is one run in the first round, and the whole face of it can change. So, Ben, how about you?
Yeah, Herb already hit the headliners because it's always the quarterbacks, right? And that's exactly where the attention is deservedly going to be. So I'll hit the back end of the first round there. There seems to be a cluster of wide receivers that people have very different opinions on about even which one is the best and who might get into the first round. But there's also a cluster of cornerbacks sitting back there, kind of early second round. Will teams start grabbing them? Herb, you mentioned runs. Will teams start grabbing one of those cornerbacks at the back half of the first back part of the first round as well? Then there's also a tiny cluster of defensive tackles sitting back there. So it'll be interesting to see the last 5 or 6 picks of the first round, which cluster those teams are going to go after, which one they feel like they can't really get later.
Yep. He asked me about trades, was it last year? And I always say that's where you get one of your guaranteed trades is somebody jumping back into the end of the first round to grab that guy that didn't think maybe would be there, and all of a sudden is there. And oh, let's go get him. So,
and it's a great spot to do it. Yeah, absolutely. It's not that expensive to get back into the last part of the first round usually, and maybe you get 2 guys in the first round, and you've really upgraded, your team pretty well there. It really is a great spot.
Yeah, I know a team that's projected to do that. They play in East Rutherford. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. But this has been fun, man. Thank you guys again for everything. I would get sentimental and go into a whole bunch of stuff, but I'll save that for 2 weeks from now. But this has been fantastic. Fun show tonight. Thanks again, Shane, wherever you are. Hope you're safe and well, brother. And look forward to seeing you guys next week. If you can make it, you can stop by in any capacity. Love to see you then. And guys, thanks for watching and listening. Please support our YouTube channel. Hit us up with a subscription. Also subscribe to Sports and Money on YouTube. Sports and Money KC still, or is it Sports and Money?
Still KC, but I should probably take the KC off. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Well, there's a Sports and Money out there, so I'm asking. Maybe you need to keep the KC or put something else in this place. So Sports and Money KC and the Herb and Watch podcast, both on YouTube. Please subscribe. Hit us all up. One button press for all 3 of us. Come on, baby, you can do it. It's just 3 steps. But we thank you guys again for your support, and we are out of here. Have a great day. See you next week. Live draft special, baby.
Good night, everybody.